Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kari and today I will talk about Fate the Winx Saga. Essentially, I wanted to make this video because I've seen a lot of mixed opinions about this show all over the internet, and it seems like the fans of the Winx Club hate it and the people who didn't watch the Winx Club, they actually liked the show. And I wanted to give my opinion because I am the biggest fan of the Winx Club. I actually have some evidence to show you. These are some of my books of the Winx Club when I was growing up. I still have them and I still love them. I will talk about them more at the end of the video because this is a review about the show, so I will leave timestamps in case you want to know all about this. Winx Club was a big thing for me while I was growing up. I loved it. It was one of my favorite things. I loved the designs, the characters, and the magic of the world. So making this review is very special to me because as a fan, I really liked Fate. I think it was a great show. I'm not saying that this is the best show ever, but I'm just saying that it's not a bad show either, like a lot of the fans say it is. First, I will start with some background about me. Ever since I heard that Netflix was adapting the Winx Club into a live action show, I was very excited. I wanted to watch the show already ever since I heard the news. They said from the beginning that it was gonna be different, so I was preparing myself kind of, but also I wasn't expecting what it actually was. I was going in with very average to low expectations for the show after the trailer, but I was still excited. When I started watching it, I felt it was very average. It had some parts that I loved, but some parts that were just weird in my opinion. But as I continued, I felt that it was its own world, and I understood that that's what they were trying to do, create their own world, their own show. It is a teen drama mixed with mystery and fantasy, and it has the base elements of Winx Club, but of course it was going to be for a younger audience adapted to this time, so they obviously had to change many things. After realizing that, I just was pleasantly surprised to continue with the show, and I enjoyed it a lot. I admit that it's not perfect. It had some cringy moments, some weird lines, some things that weren't great, but overall the feeling that I got was a positive feeling. I was glad that Netflix adapted this, and I would be glad if it gets another season because it deserves it. Actually, it got a lot of buzz and everyone is talking about it. Even if they say positive or negative things, it is still relevant. Another thing that I like about it is that it draws the attention of younger people, a younger audience, to watch the original show. And I think that's great. I mean, if a show can do that, you have to applaud it because maybe some younger people will be curious of what the original show was about and they are going to watch it. And that's great for me. The next thing that I want to talk about is that this is an adaptation. I don't know what happens with fans, that they get excited when something they love gets adapted into live action, and then when the thing comes out, they show their hate like there's no tomorrow. It's just a lot, and a lot of the times the show, the live action thing, does not deserve that. I love adaptations. I always love talking about them, and there are some horrible adaptations and some that are great, but they are still adaptations. When they are going to adapt a show, it means that they are going to change it. I mean, if you want the adaptation to be an exact copy of the show you watch, then just watch the original show. I don't see why people has to get mad about it when they just can enjoy the original show and watch the adaptation, which is another idea. And if they don't like it, just leave it. Like, you don't have to spread all of that hate. And with this, I'm not saying that I loved all the changes. I would have preferred if some things were more similar to the original Winx Club, of course. One of those things was the clothing. I think the clothing was very weird and felt very mature, but well, if you think about it, it goes with the whole aesthetic of the show, with the whole new story, which is darker and mysterious. So yeah, I get it, but I didn't really like it. There were some other things and other changes that I didn't like. I don't agree with those, especially the whitewashing, of course. But talking about the quality of the show, I think they did a great job changing the style. For example, I can actually forgive the style because it was more similar to the vibe that they wanted. Now let's talk about the characters. And I loved the new characters. I think they had their own essence, but I also loved the original characters a lot. I think Bloom was very good. I don't understand people who say that she was selfish. Like, imagine you going through that experience in life. That must be hard. But apart from that, I think they capture her character very well. And she was naive and she was clueless and she was dorky like the Bloom we all know. I also liked that they gave the characters more depth and more development, but they still kept some humoristic parts of the personalities. From the new characters, I don't know which one was my favorite. Tara is there on the top because she was a great addition, in my opinion. Every show should have just a cute, kind soul who only wants to help others, and Tara was so cute. I loved her. I also think they capture very well how Musa was a badass and carefree, and how Stella has that shiny, smart-ass personality that we all love. I know what you're thinking if you only watch like just 1 or 2 episodes. But let's talk a little bit more about Stella's character. This section is going to have a few spoilers, but I will put here in the screen the word spoilers. When you don't see it anymore, you can continue watching if you don't want to get spoiled. For the ones screaming at me now saying that Stella's personality was nothing like in Winx Club, I get it. But what the show did was give Stella a development arc. And I love that for her character. I think she was most different from the animated version, of course. I didn't like many things about it in the beginning, but seeing the big picture, like the whole arc of the show, her development was one of the best. I would have been mad if nothing happened, if Stella just would have stayed like that, like a mean girl, like a blonde stereotype, like hating Bloom and not being her friend, not joining the club. I would have hated that. That would have been unacceptable, but they gave development to her character. They made her change and see her mistakes with Sky and with the girls, and that was what made her character great. In my opinion, she was great. It was a little bit painful to watch at the beginning, but now that I see the big picture, it was worth it. Yeah, like I'm expecting in season 2 the old Stella that we all know and love, and that's what we're gonna get if we get a season 2, of course. I don't agree with all the changes that they did. I guess they wanted to continue the stereotype of the popular blonde girl who dates the popular guy, but at the end, everything was okay. And now let's talk about the relationships, which are also very important things for me in any media. This can be romantic relationships, friendships, and student-teacher relationships. In my opinion, they were all well done. Some were better than others. I have to say that also the development between Bloom and Farah was very well done. I really enjoyed it. I overall like all of them. As I said, the relationship between Sky and Stella wasn't one of my favorites, but I liked the development that it had. I wasn't expecting some couples, I have to say that, but they were okay, they were fine. I like the chemistry between the actors, I like their scenes, some of the dialogue, some it was a little bit cringy, but you get it, it's a teen show. But one thing that I applaud this show for is that none of the interactions between any characters felt forced. They felt realistic, and I just think that's a very important part of any show, that the relationships feel real. Now let's talk about the storyline. This storyline was a little bit confusing, I have to admit. That might have been to draw more people in, like to be mysterious and dark and just grim overall. At the beginning, I wasn't a fan of it. Like the first scene was just someone getting killed by a monster, and I didn't like that. The monsters of Winx Club were just very cartoonish monsters and they weren't scary. But here we start with just that scene and I was like, is that the tone of the show? I really want to watch that, but yeah, it gets better. They change a lot of things about the story, but I think they nail this new story. As I said before, this is a new world, they created it. It's a whole different thing, but you have the base of this person who is going to discover that there's a world full of magic. The pacing was also good, but I have to admit that for some moments I thought it was very, very fast. Like I needed more explanations about what was going on. I was kind of lost, but overall it was great. And the ending was amazing. I think one of the best things about the show is the potential that it has to go on, like for more seasons. It all ends in a place where you can make a lot of things with that, with the characters, with the development, with the friendships, with the school. Everything was great. I loved that ending. I loved other thing about the ending, but it's a spoiler, but everyone knows, like the shocking kind of twist, because they mention it in the first episode, and then in the finale you get to see what everyone was waiting from this show. The world building was a little bit confusing for a person who didn't watch Winx Club, I have to say that. I hope that just sparks the curiosity on them and they watch the original show. But if not, I guess they have to explore a little bit more of that in season 2. They actually have many things that they have to explore and explain in season 2, so hopefully we get one. This section is just me talking about how this show is very easy to watch and very quick to watch. You can binge watch this show in a day because it only has 6 episodes. Also, teen dramas are always easy to watch and fun, and if you don't laugh about the jokes, you laugh about how silly the jokes are. And it's very fun. Like, you have a great time with teen dramas. That's why they are appealing not only to teenagers but to older people. So yeah, I watched this show in a day. Like, please tell me if you had to, because I have to know that I'm not crazy. As a conclusion, I recommend this show a lot. If you haven't watched Winx Club, I think you should watch it. You will probably love it a little bit more than the fans. And if you love Winx Club, if you are a big fan, I think you should also give it a chance, like to see it for what it is. And it is an adaptation. It is a new take on the story we all knew and love. It is a new take on the characters, a new take on the relationships, on the magic, on the school, on everything. It is a whole new experience, but with a feeling of nostalgia because, of course, Winx Club was a big part of many people's lives, and objectively is a great show. There are a lot of worse shows out there. I'm not going to spread hate in this video because I didn't want people to spread hate on Fate, but yeah, it's way better than a lot of other teen shows that are still on air. In case you want to know another opinion about the show, I will link a review of a guy. He didn't watch Winx Club, he just watched the show and he was pleasantly surprised. He described it as a mix between Harry Potter and Avatar, The Last Airbender. And I really liked his review, his perspective. If you want to watch it, I will link it down below. That was it for the review. I hope you like it. I hope you watch Fate the Winx Saga on Netflix. I really recommend it. It's not the same as Winx Club, of course, but it was a great show. Now let's talk about my Winx Club books. Let's start with these 2 novels. Of course, they are in Spanish because that's my first language, and when I was a kid, I didn't know any English. This is the first one. It's very beautiful. I always loved this, and what I loved most about it was the back, because look at them. So beautiful. Actually, it has some drawings at the beginning of each chapter. For example, this one. Yeah, of course, we all miss Flora, you know. I don't remember anything about this book. I just remember that I admire the art and the drawings a lot. And the other one is this one. I think all of this were part of the plot of the second season. I don't really remember. I think I say that because of the clothes that they have, but I don't really remember. Like, I could be so wrong. And in this one, I actually painted some of the drawings. Like this first one. Yeah, I love them. And I thought that they were colorless, like they needed more life. And yeah, I painted them. Let's search another one that I painted. This one. This one, I guess, is my favorite. I didn't paint them in the colors that they were supposed to be. But I just love it a lot. I remember this a lot, and oh, so many great memories. And the last book is very special to me. It's a little bit damaged because I read it a lot, but this is an encyclopedia of the Winx Club. My God, I love it. Look at this. It's just amazing. Of course, it's in Spanish as well. It has everything that I wanted to know at that time. I thought that it was a fairy. I was preparing myself to go to Althea with Bloom and Stella and everyone. I just needed that. You have a section about the fairies and you have all the information about them, like a biography. It is just wonderful. It's very magical. This is the back. It is also very great. And here is the whole damage. Okay, I really treasure this, but I also think that it's not gonna last very long if I keep on touching it. So, and the last thing that I wanted to share with you is just this gift that my uncle gave to me. It's Bloom. It has here the logo of the Winx Club, and here it has my name. Like, it's very beautiful. Well, that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and thank you again if you are still here, if you wanted to know about my obsession and my books. I really appreciate that. Tell me what you think about Fate the Winx Saga. Tell me if you watched it, if you like it, and if you haven't watched it, tell me if this video convinced you to do so. If you enjoyed, please give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more content about movies, TV shows, and books every week. See you next time.